So smartphones are getting more and more expensive since 2017 with the introduction of the $1,000 iPhone 10. Companies are putting the best technologies possible in their phones, trying to compete with each other, then sell it for like $1,000 or even more. I'm looking at you, Samsung. But an area where there's not much competition is the budget market. There's really only two major companies making phones in the budget price range. Google with their A series, the most recent one being the Pixel 3a, and Samsung's A series. But in April, with the introduction of the 2020 iPhone SE, which sells for only $400, Apple has also officially joined. I've been dailying it for over a month now. So how good is the phone, and is it worth buying? So in this video, we are going to go through the design, camera and mic, performance, display, battery life, and the value. Let's get the video started. So the new SE is pretty much following the footsteps of the original SE introduced back in 2016, old body but with the new internals. The original SE didn't seem all that impressive back then because the iPhone 6s, the flagship iPhone at the time, only cost $650. So a $400 price tag isn't really much cheaper. But right now in the world of $1,000 phones and where there's really not much competition in the budget price range, and by the fact that this is made by this company called Apple, it really stands out. First, let's look at the exterior and design. It's a pretty small phone, and just like most modern smartphones, it's also a glass sandwich. The back looks fairly modern. It has a single camera, mic and flash on the upper left side, which is, I guess, not very modern, and a center Apple logo in the middle of the glass back, which means yes, there is wireless charging. So that's a pretty nice feature. The build quality is pretty good. You get aluminum on the sides, the buttons are also aluminum, but the front is where it looks outdated. It looks pretty much the same as the iPhone 6 from 2014. You get the thick black bezels with the 4.7-inch screen in the middle. And look, it still has a home button. It doesn't actually click though. It's just the haptic engine simulating a click. You got the lightning port on the bottom and no headphone jack. It weighs the same as the iPhone 8 and is 40 grams lighter than the iPhone 11 Pro. So overall, it's a small, compact, and well-built phone. Now let's take a look at the camera of this thing. I'm still mostly staying inside because, the corona is still going around here and the daily cases are still rising. So most of my everyday photos are taken indoors. But still, they look noticeably better than my old iPod 7, of course, and even the iPhone 8 or 10R. For a full comparison between the 8 and the new SE, please watch my last video by clicking on the top right corner. I'll also leave a link in the description. The images look sharper and brighter, and the mic is also noticeably louder. Not to mention that it can also record audio with both microphones instead of only one by the camera. It can also film videos in 4K 60 FPS. And it will probably look better than most Android flagships because, Apple's good at videos. So how good do you think is the video quality and mic quality? Leave a comment down below. Do you think it's good or bad or okay? I don't know, but I personally think it sounds pretty great. Not to mention the stereo audio recording capabilities. They are not iPhone 11 level, but they still look great. The image quality and video quality is somewhere between the iPhone 10R and 11. It also got portrait mode for the rear and front cameras, which only works on people, but that's still a nice addition. It's a bummer that it didn't get night mode though. That's just a decision Apple made so they won't hurt the sales of the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro. But that's still impressive considering the SE has almost the exact same camera sensor as the 8. The better image processing of the A13 processor really makes a difference. The camera and mic of this thing is more than enough for everyday use and Instagram posting. Apple doesn't have to, But they did it. They've put the blazing fast A13 processor, almost the exact same ones as the ones in the iPhone 11s, and I said almost because it only has 3 gigs of RAM instead of 4, but otherwise they are the same ones. In the 2020 iPhone SE, it got 462,000 points in Antutu, just slightly behind the iPhone 11 and phones with the Snapdragon 865. And for the graphics, it got better scores than even the S20 Ultra in Geekbench Compute. And by better, I mean double those scores. It's probably the most powerful device in my entire house. I said probably because I don't know the scores of my PS4 Pro. And even though it only has 3 gigs of RAM, because of the great RAM management in iOS, I didn't find it affecting my experience with this phone at all. Sometimes I will open an app that I last opened like several hours ago, and it will still be open. Major titles like Fortnite and Call of Duty Mobile run at a minimum of 30 FPS. What the A13 chip also means is that it will get at least 4 years of software support, which is longer than most Android flagships. The performance of this thing is definitely very good and will stay this way for several years. The part where it doesn't stand out is the display. It's a 1334 by 750 4.7-inch LCD display, which is very small in 2020. It's pretty good for single-handed use though. You get the thick black bezels on the top and bottom, and there's also the non-physical home button on the bottom. The Touch ID is pretty fast though. It has P3 white color and True Tone, but it's still inferior to an OLED display because the fact that it can't display true black is very annoying. What it also lacks is 3D Touch. Apple removed 3D Touch on the iPhone 11 Pro to make the battery larger, but it didn't make it larger on the SE. So it seems like Apple just wants us to forget its existence. But sorry Apple, we'll still remember it. And speaking of the battery, let's talk about it. As I said, the battery is the exact same size as the 8, which is a whopping 1,821 milliamp hours, which isn't much larger than even this guy, the iPhone 5 battery. Let's see how big this is. It's 1,440 milliamp hours. So the SE battery is probably just like this big, which is very small. It's less than 2,000 milliamp hours, which is basically a joke in 2020. But the SE's battery has a different connector as the 8's, so they are not interchangeable. Apple claims that it lasts about the same as iPhone 8, and realistically, it actually lasts quite a bit longer than the 8, but it's still terrible and is miles behind major flagships and even its competitors, the Pixel 3 and the Galaxy 51, which are both great at battery. Just to tell you how bad the battery is, here's my personal experience. I wake up at around 9, sometimes 10, use my phone for about half an hour, then barely use it till 5 p.m. because I'm banned from using my phone during that period. Then after that, I will just casually browse Twitter and Reddit, maybe watch a few YouTube videos. So as you can see, I don't use my phone that much, but it still can barely get me through the day. I'll have about 25 to 35% left at the end of the day, and on weekends when I'm allowed to use my phone the entire day, well, it can't even get me through the day. I have to recharge it around 5 to 6 p.m. so it can at least have enough juice to finish the day. So if you're an average moderate user, then you'll probably get around 4 to 5 or sometimes maybe a little bit more of screen on time before needing to recharge. And what kills the battery the most is gaming. Half an hour of Minecraft and one match on Fortnite will drain your battery by at least 15%. So yeah, it's not great at all. And if you are an adult using this phone, well, make sure to just carry on the charging cord. So now you've heard the positives and the negatives of this phone, but is it worth buying? How much are you getting for your money? Let's count what you get for $400. So you get a small phone with amazing build quality, bad display and battery, very good processor, which will make this phone get updates for at least 4 years, fast wireless speeds with the Wi-Fi 6 and gigabit class LTE, and some nice extra features. So when you think about it, $400 is actually a pretty cheap price to pay for all of that. The design does look outdated, but the internals are definitely amazing. The Pixel 3a and the Galaxy A51 are also good deals, but they instead opted for better battery life, display, or camera. So yes, the SE is absolutely worth it if you want iOS or is okay with both operating systems. But when is the best time to buy it? Well, the best time to buy it is right now. Apple won't give it a A14 processor or A15 later down the road. So the phone will just get older and older until it isn't really good anymore. So yeah, if you want to buy it, the best time to buy it is right now. So that concludes the video. Thank you guys for watching, probably the last video about the iPhone SE. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and I'll see you very soon.